Now, South Korea and the US have begun joint military naval drills despite North Korea's threats of possible retaliation. Pyongyang called the action a silent declaration of war, though its neighbour states the 12-day military games are purely defensive. Well, let's get more perspective on this from Rudiger Frank, who's an expert on North Korea and East Asia at Vienna University. He joins us now live. It's not the first time South Korea has held such drills, is it? And the North routinely declares it a threat to its security. Is there, in your opinion, any reason to believe these exercises are a danger to the North?
Well, to begin with, that's not the first time, but these are definitely the longest lasting such exercises ever. They used to be around 1 week or 10 days in 2003 and 2011 last year. They were expanded to 1 month. And now in 2012, it's the first time that we see a 2-month period for the Key Resolve and Foal Eagle exercises. And I'm wondering what type of signal this is supposed to be sending to North Korea.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, North Korea has threatened to launch a powerful retaliatory strike against South Korea if provoked. Considering it has nuclear weapons, could this conceivably turn into a nuclear conflict?
Well, that risk, of course, is always there, although we must say that North Korea has issued such statements in the past, and luckily these were just statements. But you never know. You can play with fire safely for a while and until you create some kind of a big blast, and that's what we don't want. I'm really concerned because we have a new leader in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, with whom we have no experience whatsoever. With whom we have a chance to actually open some new avenues for cooperation and for resolving all those pressing issues that we have on the table. And by telling him that, well, we don't care, we do not either quit or shorten those exercises, but we actually expand them, this is sending the wrong signal. And North Korea, of course, responds the way how this would have to be expected, by issuing such very, very harsh statements using the terms of war and annihilation, etc.
Well, indeed, you mentioned the new North Korean leader. I mean, do you think this could be happening, in a sense, to test him?
Well, but in that case, I don't really know what the meaning of that test should be. If we want to force him into a corner where he is more or less, where he has no other option but to have a hardline position, fine. Because he is not only being watched by us, he is also watched by his own people. He is surrounded by generals who want to find out whether this man is really fit to lead the country or not. And we are now forcing him to take such a hardline, military-oriented stance, and thereby we are basically blocking all other options that might have been on the table.
And what about the involvement of the US here? I mean, some would say Washington is trying to deliberately provoke Pyongyang. Is there any sense of that?
Well, I have no idea what the intentions of Washington are. Of course, the options for policy are limited. We have an election coming up in the United States that is important, and in such a context, a democratic president will not take any risk of appearing too dovish vis-à-vis North Korea, because he has to face a Republican challenger who will, of course, try to play that card. I have no idea what type of signal the United States want to send to North Korea, in particular since last week they just met in Beijing and had something that American negotiators described as fruitful talks.
How dangerous is this, though, in all? Because in a case of an armed conflict, could we be talking about World War III?
Well, we have about 200,000 South Korean troops, about 13,000 American troops in this one exercise alone. On the North Korean side, we have over 1 million soldiers. It's a state that is on a constant state of emergency, on high alert. It's a state that is in possession of nuclear weapons, although we don't know exactly how many and in which quality they are there. But this is definitely a very hot area, and it's surrounded by countries like South Korea, Japan, and China. So if they become involved in some kind of military confrontation, the whole thing can easily get out of hand. So I do believe that we are facing a potentially dangerous situation.
OK, we'll have to leave it there. Rudiger Frank, thank you for your thoughts here live on RT.